You are paying more at Tesco because of Amazon's policies. So Amazon used to give you a wonderful deal if you're a merchant. And you know, if you know people who make things that used to sell them at, you know, the Saturday market, oftentimes they found on Amazon that they could reach a global audience, and it could be quite life-changing. They could quit a shitty job and become their own boss and make things that people loved and find some customers. Amazon's found a lot of ways to squeeze those people. They spy on their sales and they clone their best products and then don't show the original manufacturer's products in search.
So this is one of the reasons, and we're going to go over many reasons why in this video I don't believe that Amazon is going to continue dominance in the sales market. Fiat currency, I think, does change these things because fiat currency punishes people for saving money, which punishes people for believing in a future that's better than the present, which makes the future worse than the present. I have other videos on fiat currency, but the fact that Amazon is attacking the people that work for them through the way that he just described, they're doing the opposite of service, the opposite of serving the customer, the opposite of serving the people selling on Amazon. They're not serving anyone. Self-serving. So I'm very interested in Shop, a Shopify derivative app. I'm very interested in, I think there's going to be a huge future for any sort of app that actually helps people find what they want and actually helps people deliver what they want, but that sort of already exists through the internet. So we may in fact just see a falling of Amazon type things. We may just see search engines that are better. I mean, even Google is actually making their search engine worse so they can get more money, which is so destructive to their business model. And essentially what we're creating is the need for a revolution because the top is oppressing the bottom so much that for the bottom to merely engage in the energy expenditure they should already be engaging in as a result of the equilibrium that should exist given the factors influencing the economy, they will by necessity have to overthrow essentially the entire ruling class, because the ruling class is putting themselves at the antithesis of an efficient economy. And the economy strives for efficiency. And as we've seen from world history, if a lot of people have to die for that to happen, then so be it.
And only show the Amazon knockoff. That's pretty bad, but mostly what they do is they lard on junk fees. Fees for using Prime, and if you don't use Prime, you're relegated to page 11 million of the search results. Fees for what they call advertising, but it's not advertising, it's buying search placement. So when I wrote the book, that market was like a $38 billion.
So buying search placement is inherently never going to work because they're essentially trying to use first mover advantage to shut everyone else out of the market. But again, that just results in revolution. I mean, if the USSR couldn't do it, you're certainly not going to be able to do it. Google.
Market, the advertising market where they charge for search results, it's now a $58 billion market. It's twice as large as the aggregate advertising revenue of every newspaper in the world. And that money comes from somewhere, because if you're paying that much money to make sure that you're the first click, so the first click on average, that top link, is 29% more expensive than the best match for your search. The top row is 25% more expensive, and the best match is on page 2, somewhere around number 7.
I am definitely going to be taking advantage of this from now on and looking on page 2 of Amazon search. What strange times we live in, where the people who run the institutions that are supposed to keep things running are actually vampirically feeding off of the very system they're claiming to support, while pushing educational policies that make people unable to think critically and just being bad parasites. Bad parasites. Don't kill your host.
So the way that they pay for that is they charge more. right? Now, you may have seen that the prices on Amazon don't seem appreciably higher than they are anywhere else. And that's because Amazon operates a policy called Most Favored Nation, which is my least favorite policy, because what it means is that you cannot charge less anywhere than you charge on Amazon.
So this is a literal representation of how we live in a fake world that is made fake by the information disparity between those who run things and those who do not run things. People who do not run things, they're just basically living in a fake world. And if you understand what the real world is, then you're either already running something or about to start running something, because the only way to learn how the real world actually works is to do that.
Amazon has to have your best price. So if you raise your prices to cover a junk fee, now when I wrote the book, the junk fee was running 45 to 51%. Latest research is it's now 50 to 60%. So if you raise your prices to meet that junk fee, you have to raise your prices at Tesco and at the high street and at the factory.
What he's saying is that those prices aren't real. The world you're interacting with is not what you think it is. It is, in fact, operating by exploitative principles that benefit those who lobby the government to make the laws with the fiat currency that's worth less and less every year. Who benefits from this? The people who end up owning the gold. Pay attention to who's buying gold, because when all this fiat currency isn't worth anything, those with gold will have the real wealth.
Factory store. So they're imposing an economy-wide tax on every merchant. You are paying more at Tesco because of Amazon's policies.